Welcome to the Craft of Coaching podcast, where we dive into what it truly takes to become a skilled, confident life coach. I'm your host, Kate, head of the CLCC, or Certified Life Coach Collective, an ICF-Accredited Level 1 coach training program. We combine courage, coaching, and community to offer you more than just a training program, but a life-changing experience where you use your own personal transformation as the learning ground for supporting your clients. On this podcast, we explore how you can use coaching skills to support your clients or expand your own growth, all grounded in evidence-based coaching practices. Learn more about our program and get free resources for becoming a life coach at teamclcc.com. And now, here's today's episode. Hey everyone. Today we're doing another of our skill drill series where we just do a short little dip into a coaching topic, exercise, or something adjacent to coaching, such as marketing, putting yourself out there. Today we're going to be taking a look at common cognitive distortions. Cognitive distortions are essentially biased thought patterns. Sometimes in the Courageous Living Coach certification, we'll call cognitive distortions narratives or stories, capital S stories. They are the assumptions that we have about ourselves, about others, about the way the world works. And psychology research has identified some common cognitive distortions that come up for clients. And I'm going to be talking about some of those today. As you're listening to some of these, consider any that you yourself hold, because we all have stories. It's part of how we make our way through the world. But in particular, what are the things that actually put a negative bias or negative lens on what we can and can't change in the realm of our experience? So let's go over a couple of these. First of all, there's filtering. That is an exclusive focus on a single negative aspect of a situation. And certainly we have all been in that place before where we were really struggling with something. We did not know what to do. And suddenly it's like we had tunnel vision where we were only seeing the negative aspect of a situation and could not see the positives. Polarized thinking, a belief that something is all good or all bad. We've been there before too, right? Overgeneralization. That's when you take a single incident or a single unpleasant event and make a broad conclusion or overgeneralize that because of that single incident or unpleasant event, now everything's going to be a mess. Things are not going to go well. It's not going to be good. Catastrophizing. This is overgeneralization in my mind that is taken to an extreme. It's something goes wrong, and instead of it being just, oh, something went wrong, it's disaster. So it's really hyperinflation of the situation. Taking things personally, personalizing things, which is a belief that the bad outcomes are all on me, I'm at fault, it's never going to work out, it's personal. So the rejection from a job offer or from a partner, it's me, I'm bad, I suck, I'm lame, all of that. So it's taking things personally, when in fact, the reality is that in this example of rejection or, not getting the job that you want, that's just part of life. Everybody's gone through a rejection or a breakup. Everybody's tried to get a job and not gotten the job. It's not personal. Fallacy of fairness. This is an extreme resentment of being treated unfairly. Now, obviously, people want to be treated fairly and equitably and with respect. And it is very normal to have a human response of anger, frustration, sadness, betrayal when someone is not treated fairly. But when that becomes something that person holds on to, and it becomes this extreme resentment, this narrative that they carry around, that's when there's this fallacy of fairness. The reality is that in life, unfair things happen. The universe is not singling this client out. It's that sometimes unfair things happen. So the fallacy that life should always be fair, it ain't true. Control fallacies. This is a sense that one is externally or internally controlled and helpless to fate. So And again, we're talking about in extremes, right? There are certain levels of inertia that sometimes happen in people's lives where their choices just kind of pull them right to a particular outcome. But a control fallacy, that one is somehow controlled and helpless and there's nothing they can do, that like the stars are aligned against them, when that's taken to an extreme, it is a cognitive distortion that is negative and does not support that person in their growth. Shoulds. This is those internal lists that we carry about how others should behave or how the world should be or how jobs should be. I have a really wonderful coach I've worked with for a long time, and I don't think this comes from him exclusively, but I know we've talked about it before. It's kind of a joke. I think it's kind of funny and a helpful way to bring some lightness to conversations about shoulds, but essentially sometimes he has said to me, "Are you shoulding all over yourself?" There we go. We get to have a little laugh at my expense. Emotional reasoning. This is when somebody, again, coming to an extreme, has this absolute conviction that because they feel it, it must be true. Now, feelings are real, but they like to tell tall tales. As coaches supporting clients, we want to validate the fact that our clients feel the truth of what they feel. But if a client gets stuck in a conviction that what they feel means it is the truth, they're closing themselves off to other possibilities. Always being right. This is pretty extreme, but when somebody has an inability in a situation to see themselves as doing anything that could be a mistake, as always being the one who behaved perfectly while everyone else behaved badly, especially if there's proof that this is not in fact the case, then they're getting into a cognitive distortion of trying to always be right, always be the one who knows. And when we get down that path, things get really sticky. Next, we've got blame. And certainly accountability is helpful. Blame, however, which is usually accompanied by strong emotion and resentment and only pointing fingers without looking for any place to take personal responsibility whatsoever, blame is not helpful. So blame becomes a cognitive distortion when it is to such a degree that it's past the point of accountability and to a point of saying, okay, other people are responsible for my life experience, for my outcomes. The fallacy of change. There's an expectation with the fallacy of change that others must change to meet our needs. This is a big one that I see in the collective culture right now, which is a sort of, here are the ways in which a parent, for instance, did not meet my needs, and I have an expectation that you must change to meet my needs. Now, for sure, if someone is abusive, neglectful, if they are harmful, then we absolutely have to expect that someone is going to change to meet our needs to receive basic, fair, respectful treatment. But the fallacy of change is an expectation that others must change to meet our needs. And that's when it becomes, again, a lot of these coming to an extreme, entitlement. I stated that I wanted to eat at an exclusively vegan restaurant, and they should have honored that need. I'm not willing to eat the vegan food at a restaurant that serves vegan food and non-vegan food. Everybody has to change to meet my need to eat at the vegan restaurant. That is just an example. And again, one that I would say is like, look, the fallacy of change, it is a lie that other people are supposed to constantly accommodate our needs. This is, of course, again, beyond the need for basic respect. And then we have the heaven's reward fallacy. This is one that might come up big time with people pleasers. And that is a belief that self-sacrifice and self-denial pay off, again, to an extreme. Of course, everybody has to sacrifice to some degree for their dreams. Of course, sometimes we have to deny ourselves the comforts of the immediate moment in order to get a long-term benefit. But when somebody is constantly thinking that if they just push a little harder to support everybody else but themselves, and then somehow it's going to pay off, and then people are going to look around and go, oh my gosh, you've done so many things for me. What can I do for you now? Helpful to point out to our clients these sorts of stories or narratives or cognitive distortions so that clients can understand that when they attach too rigidly to any of these distortions or stories or narratives, they are not getting where they want to go. So I'm curious if you are on social media and you want to find me on TikTok or Instagram. I'm curious to know which of these cognitive distortions you've seen the most in your clients most often, or which ones you have. I am on Instagram and TikTok as Kate Courageous, so you can find me there. Would love to hear from you. And that is today's skill drill.